Hola, hola. Bienvenidos a Esperanza Vence, donde la esperanza vence. Welcome to Esperanza Vence, where hope wins. Let's get this Scorpio full moon party started here. Scorpio energy is a water sign, very deep, very emotionally attuned. They do not like lies, because if you try to like fluff something up in front of a Scorpio, they will suss that out real quick and they don't appreciate it at all. And when they're done, they're done. You know, when they're done, they're done. Scorpio energy is both the poison and the remedy, right? Because I've heard that, I don't know if this is true, but I've heard that scorpions, you know, if there's like a ring of fire around them, they'll even use their stinger to sting themselves, which sort of can represent that if you've ever had an argument or a disagreement or a romantic relationship with a Scorpio, especially as a fellow water sign ascendant, you will know that sometimes Scorpio energy can bring that cut off my nose to spite my face type vibe. You know, I'm gonna detox this before anybody else does type vibe, right? So let's pull a 10 card Celtic cross and see what we can see. All right, cool. Thanks. Thanks for fine-tuning your free will and intuition with me. I'm really pumped that I get to work one-on-one and in groups with events for people who are in the mood to expand their intuitive capabilities, because I feel like if your gut is in the right place, it will not lead you wrong, you know? And this is just a tool. Like I was just talking to someone. I'm at the wellness place today. I was just talking to someone downstairs, and she was just saying like how her husband is actually really into tarot, and he keeps a journal of his readings. And she's more intuitive in terms of like what she feels in her body, and I was like, I get that, because I used to use tarot a lot with my own intuition to sort of boost my own intuition, and now I just sort of like, I feel a lot, and I kind of know. I already kind of know, you know, but this is a great tool for me to use with others, because this helps me translate that language in visuals in a way that hopefully my client can relate to, right? So it's 78 different pictures, and when I lay the cards, you'll see they all make a story, all right? So this is us. This is what's crossing us. Near past, near future, our conscious awareness, our subconscious awareness. How do we see ourselves? How do other people see us, or maybe what's in our environment right now? Oops. What are our hopes and fears, and what's the likely outcome if we just keep doing what we're doing? All right, thank you. Who are we? We are judgment. Wow. Out of the gate, strong, strong start. We are judgment. Our challenge, 4 of Wands. Near past, 9 of Cups reversed. Near future, the Moon reversed. Our conscious awareness, Queen of Pentacles. Our subconscious awareness, King of Wands reversed. How do we see ourselves? Ooh, the Devil. You sly devil. Handsome devil. In our environment, the Three of Wands reversed. Our hopes and fears, Ace of Wands, and the likely outcome. Oh, Page of Swords reversed. Okay, so Judgment, our topic at hand here. This is a karmic card of let go and let God, and knowing that no matter what, even if we have to resurrect the dead, the good is going to rise. And sometimes we do have to rely on spirits from the other side to guide us, protect us, and to have that faith in the eternal outcome, that what God wills, you know, God wills it, inshallah, like if God wills it. And you have to have that faith that God does will things, and that there's going to come a day when, and Judgment, you know what? Speaking of Scorpio energy, Scorpios are really good at judging people. They're really good at getting to the bottom of a matter real quick. Like they can sense and feel a vibe. Like the second somebody walks into a room, they can already read like that vibe of that person. And so Judgment can also be that, like, our spidey senses, you know, are tingling, or we can lean into certain judgments that we have of situations around us, people around us. Maybe people are also going to be more open to judging us really quickly too. Our challenge is with the Four of Wands here, we might be challenged to make those quick judgments and to trust in our intuitive guidance, and to trust that God is going to like lead us to this outcome, and that the good will rise no matter what's happening right now. We could be challenged in our home life. With the Four of Wands is home life, community life, you know, combining your efforts, combining your passions, your wands, your growth with another person in order to build stability within the community. So, you know, our upbringing, our home life, any fourth house matters, which are ruled by the zodiac sign of Cancer. So Cancer is like mother, family, home, hearth, caring for others, which as a challenge, like there could just be things going on at home that challenge our judgment. You know, we might be pulled by the heartstrings to do certain things, or we might have been raised in a certain way, or we might have like a preconditioned notion as to what community is supposed to be. And as we grow, you know, certain things that are familiar to us might fall off. And that can be uncomfortable. That can be a challenge for us at this time. In the near past with the Nine of Cups reversed, what we had hoped to happen, what we had wished for, what we blew out the candles at our birthday cake for, maybe just didn't come to fruition. And again, we have to have that trust that like the will of God, like the angelic realm is in the driver's seat. And just because we want to wish, just because we're sitting in our happy feels, just because we read The Secret, just because we think we could just manifest whatever, you know, whatever we want, that doesn't always work out. Or this can also be a card of careful what you wish for. You might get it, and it might not be arriving in the way that you had hoped for. Because when we do these manifestations, when we focus our energy so hardcore on things and don't just like, you know, it's one thing to hope for something. It's one thing to say a prayer and to say like, you know, you pray for whatever you pray to, right? And you can say like, hey, thanks for what I have, and you know, could you please protect so and so on my behalf, or like I've been thinking about such and such, you know, could you send some extra love that way or whatever. But like, let it go. If you sit and obsess about it, right, then we can get like these kind of happy returns, which are like a little unhappy sometimes because it doesn't turn out the way that like we had hoped for it to, right? Oh man, I need a haircut, y'all. I need a haircut. Book a reading. Why don't you? And then I will use that money and go get a haircut. The moon reversed in our near future means that, you know, maybe we need to be a little, again, we have to trust, we have to let go, we have to let God, and we have to know that our intuition is not something that we can control. It's just something that we lean into and something that we can trust. With the moon reversed, you know, this is usually a situation to where like our intuitive guidance gave us those hits. Like we got those indications, we got those tingles, we got those feels, but we maybe didn't listen to it and we did the freaking thing anyway. And now we're not sure if we trust our own intuition anymore. So that's another good reason to get a reading too, because the more you use these tools and the more like that you swim in these waters, the easier it becomes to trust your own compass and to trust that your life is having a conversation with you. These cards are just the words and the sentence right now, but you'll see. With the Queen of Pentacles in our conscious awareness, we might be thinking about ways, it's Taurus season, you know? A Taurus in the zodiac is opposite from Scorpio. So it's that tension, that push and pull between how do I, sorry, my nose is running. That push and pull between like, how do I care for my body? How do I care for my money? How do I care for myself? How do I care for my people? What are my creature comforts? And how do I stay where I'm at comfortably and sit, and I'm slow to move and I'm slow to anger, you know? Whereas Scorpio energy is deep. It doesn't mind going there. You know, Taurus energy is a little bit more polite. It's a little bit less concerned with the truth, but necessarily more concerned with harmony. Taurus energy is ruled by the planet Venus, and Venus incarnate here, you know, this is a lesser vibration of the Empress card, which is ruled by Venus. And basically Venus energy is going to be, how do I care for myself, care for my own beauty, care for my own body? How do I produce? How do I reproduce? How do I make money? And how do I make sure that I'm showing up as the brightest version of myself so that I can get along really well in my relationships? That's Venus energy. That's Queen of Pentacles energy, which is going to be the dynamic that's pulling between the Scorpio full moon, you know, the Scorpio moon. And look, you know, we have scorpionic symbolism right here coming up from the depths, you know, being able to lean into our wild and domesticated sides of ourselves, to walk this path through the pillars of knowledge, Boaz and Joachim. Understanding that those in those deep waters, some creepy stuff might come up, and it might be a little bit almost scary to us, or if we don't pay attention, it might pinch us in the butt. What do they say about demons? If the demons are nipping at your heels or something, or if you try to outrun your demons, they bite you in the butt or something like that. I don't know, but this is that tension, that dynamic between like, how am I doing on earth? How am I doing in my physical body? How's my money going? How are my relationships going? And like, how do I really feel? What are my emotions really? What's coming up from the depths? What can I pay attention to during dream time? And how can I trust that more coming into the future? With our subconscious awareness, we have the King of Wands reversed. So, I mean, King of Wands energy can usually be somebody who's very attractive, very creative, very powerful person in reality. And when he comes in the reverse, you know, he might not be having that connect between taking stuff from dream life and taking, you know, creative forces and bringing it into reality. When he's reversed, he might be just using sort of his sensuality, his flirtatiousness, his fire to attract somebody else. you know, maybe he's trying to attract this Queen of Pentacles to make the things real in reality, whereas he's just dreaming, you know. With that King of Wands energy reversed in our subconscious, we might not even realize that there could be that energetic pull draining our capacity to have comfort in Taurus season. Taurus is not just about survival and, you know, eating at a proper time. Taurus season is about enjoying and luxuriating a little bit. And if there's another creative force, or if there's another person, if this is a person in our lives, it could be a Leo, a Sagittarius, an Aries, fire energy, that could be a little bit draining, or else this person might need a little bit more support, because when they're in reverse, this person is usually not at their strongest. How do we see ourselves? The Devil card. All right, so with this Scorpio energy coming through, are we feeling the sexy waters, and are we answering that call? Are we getting a little deep into our addictions? Are we enjoying things that we know we shouldn't enjoy, but we just can't help ourselves? It's just so darn fun. And this is a Capricorn energy, the Devil card. So this is an energy that is carnal. You know what I'm saying? It's earthly. It is when it's like, I was listening to a podcast the other day. It was Jimmy Church, Fade to Black, and he was talking about how, you know, he's not sure if he wants to deal with all this kumbaya stuff with the Earth's ascension, and if everybody ascends to a level to where, you know, I think his exact words were something along the lines of like, yeah, I still might want to throw a brick through a window every now and again and have some fun. And this is what's being on Earth, you know. This is the fallen angel, you know, that these people are loosely chained, okay, but they're in a cycle that is not healthy. They're in a cycle that is carnal. They're in a cycle that is earthly. And they're in a cycle that, you know, if you do it for too long, you don't want to stay there, okay? So we can think of all of these themes as we are highlighted, you know. That full moon's going to reflect back to us what our sun is doing, what our solar plexus is doing, right? Okay. What's in our environment? Three of Wands reverse. So this is fire energy of, like, again, you know, putting yourself out there, putting your wishes out there, putting your desires, your passions, you know, out there. But you might not get a return on the investment the way that you had hoped. So let's make sure that our manifestation energy just stays clean and clear, and that we don't want too much, Ace of Swords, hopes and fears, clarity. We may hope for the clarity, but we may also be like, uh-oh, that means I have to take this big sword and cut off some BS in my life. This Ace of Swords cuts out what is no longer needed. It's pure, clean air energy, thoughts, communications, and reality, logic, reason. Gemini energy, air energy, Aquarius energy. Pluto's in Aquarius right now, so Pluto is deep. Pluto is that scorpionic energy, and so, you know, we might not want to know what's coming through, but it might come through clean and clear anyway. With the Page of Swords reverse is our likely outcome. Even if we do try to communicate that clarity, even if that sword of truth does come through, our new communicative starts, again, might be stalled. With this in reverse, Page of Swords reverse is usually like messages coming through, or missed messages, or somebody is trying to get a hold of us, or somebody is trying to get in a message or communicate through our DMs, or even in chatting or emails or Facebook. Any type of communication that's off to a new start could not necessarily be off to the best start. So maybe this is a card of us, like, when we're communicating with people that we don't know very well, this Page of Swords is new. Okay, so this isn't like, energy of communicating with somebody that we've known forever. This is energy of communicating with someone new, or this is a person in our lives who's coming in. Gemini, Libra, Aquarius, air sign, somebody who maybe needs to get a better handle on how they communicate as well. They might be communicating in a really immature type way. And yeah, it might just be good to keep an eye peeled for that kind of energy coming through. So that's what I got for the Scorpio full moon. And if you would like to have a personal one-on-one reading or book an event for, I love doing like weddings and pre-wedding activities and family parties and holidays. When I read for groups, it's such good energy because people, they're vibing with each other at the same time, and I just feel like it pulls like so much information. It's always so fun because like the other people they'll sit together, and then you know when you see the cards come through, you know your homie is like, oh, I know who that king of wands, this girl, you know, and it's just really fun to do that. So if you would like to do that, we can. Links are below. Thanks so much. Peace.